Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Home Built Workshop. Today, I'm going to turn this piece of quilted maple into a guitar top for a project I'm working on. I've been working on a guitar for a little while. I've got the body here, it's all pretty much ready to go. I was just going to leave it solid mahogany, and then I got this cool piece of quilted maple. It's got an amazing grain on it. It just looks incredible. So I figure I'm going to turn this into a top for that guitar body. This guitar body that I have in process is pretty much complete. It's all ready to have the neck pocket routed once I have a neck, and it can be put together. Now normally you would put the top on probably before you do the routing and all that stuff, but I think I can do this and still retain the routing that's already done. I'll just reroute it once I get the top on. First I'll cross cut the piece down to size. With an extended fence on my table saw and the blade raised as far as it'll go, I'm going to resaw this board as far as I can using my table saw. I'll make one pass on one side. I'll flip the board end for end, keeping the same side against the fence. Then I'll make another pass. This is going to leave a little sliver of wood down the center. Once the smoke clears, you can see I've got just a little sliver of wood right down the center. Since I don't have a proper woodworking vise, I'm just clamping this piece of wood to the leg of my work table here. Then I'll just cut that sliver off by hand with a handsaw. So why am I doing this by hand instead of just on a bandsaw or something like that? My bandsaw is not big enough to resaw a board this wide. And the board is too wide to make the complete cut on my table saw, so the only way I can figure to do it is by hand. So that's what you gotta do. Sometimes you just gotta do things a little bit different to get the job done. Now with my two boards separated, I can run them through the thickness planer to get them down to 1/4 of an inch. Now just using some wood glue, I'll just glue this panel up. And we'll set that aside to dry. Once the glue's dry, I'll just use a scraper to remove some of the excess glue. And I'll sand it down with the random orbit sander. Now that I've got the top sanded, I've got a really nice book match top. When I measured the top with some calipers, it's sitting right at 1/4 of an inch thick. If I glue that onto this body right now, the body's gonna be too thick. I need to take 1/4 inch of thickness off of this body. To remove that thickness, I'm gonna use my router planer sled. I'm going to clamp a bunch of blocks of wood into place around this guitar body to hold it in place. That's pretty solid. What a mess! Now I'll just sand the body real quick to make sure all the ridges from the router bit are removed. I've got center lines drawn on the guitar that I'm going to use to line up the glue joint. That's a lot of clamps. I'm going to let that glue dry for a while. So I've let the glue dry on this guitar top overnight. Let's get it out of the clamps and see what we have. Now you may be wondering why I didn't trim it down ahead of time before gluing it on. My thinking with that is because since I was already working with a guitar body that has the shape cut out, I thought I'd be probably in better shape as far as alignment if I left all the excess on there. I'm going to trim that off now on the bandsaw. Now I'll clean up the edge using a flush cutting bit and my router. And while I'm at it, I'm going to line up my template that I used to route the pickup holes to mark out their location so that I can drill a hole and route them out again as well.
Now I'll just re-drill the string through holes. And the neck mounting holes. Then I'll sand the whole thing down.
After a quick sanding, now my guitar body is back to where I started, except now it's got a really awesome book match quilted maple top. To get an idea of how this thing's really gonna look, I'll just take a rag and wipe on some mineral spirits. Man, I can't wait to start getting some finish on this. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to click the subscribe button and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any episodes. You can also follow me on social media. I'll put all the links down below in the description. So until next time, thanks a lot for watching. He just had a bad day.